So here we are, another episode of The Wall, and today we have 9-time Guinness World Record holder Triforce Johnson. 9-time Guinness World Record holder among other things. I just like to bring the Guinness thing out because it's quite impressive. I have no Guinness records and I wouldn't mind having one actually, so yeah. There's a little bit of envy there, but to the point. Triforce Johnson, glad to have you, bro. Glad to have you. Today we're going to speak about several things actually. Because there's always some fascinating shit going on in Mr. Johnson's life. He's basically an adventurer, he's always doing stuff, always getting stuff done, and he's always he does a lot of great stuff, but then sometimes shit happens. We'll discuss that later in the show, but for now, let's keep it positive. Let's talk about this recently held symposium by the Jamaica Computer Society.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I had to be in Baltimore at the time, but you were there and you filled in and represented like the true soldier you are. How did it go, bro? Break it down for us.
Well, the Jamaica Computer Society, it was a meeting, and it's literally like what it's supposed to be. It's the Jamaica Computer Society getting into esports. In my opinion, I think the meeting went very well because it looked like they did not know what was going on in this multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's a juggernaut industry that keeps growing. It's literally connected to every different country in the world, and the biggest question was raised is, where's Jamaica in it? And I've been asking that question for years now. People have been asking before me in Jamaica, where is Jamaica in esports? So the way the meeting happened, it was the guys from the Jamaican Esports Initiative company that pretty much brought to light this entire thing regarding where is Jamaica in esports, and they pretty much filled them in, told them what esports is, where the market is, how all these other countries are involved in it, from the US to the Asians to the Europeans, everything. And they showed like all these different statistics from content creators and things like that, and they pretty much were being educated. That was the biggest highlight of the entire
who was being educated?
The Jamaica Computer Society. It wasn't the Jamaica Computer Society talking about esports. It was the Jamaica Esports Initiative informing the Jamaica Computer Society about esports.
Okay.
So the Jamaica Computer Society is it composes of all these different computer-related or technology-related, digital-related Jamaican institutions and organizations. And it was up to them to find out in that meeting what is esports about and how will esports translate in the Jamaica Computer Society. But if you know anything about esports, it's about technology. Definitely in the computer realm, PCs, we need that for like League of Legends or Fortnite, that stupid dance my wife be doing or whatever, and all these other different PC games, although they have the console games, but it fits right up their alley. It creates jobs. It does a lot of things. Esports does a lot of things, and the way when I saw the whole Jamaica Computer Society being educated by the Jamaica Esports Initiative about esports, I was like, okay, that was literally the best takeaway from the entire meeting.
So what was supposed to come from educating the Jamaica Computer Society? Like, what's the end game here?
Well, the end game here, and this is where I think the JEI was very smart about their strategy here. If they could finally educate the Jamaica Computer Society, the Jamaica Computer Society can take this information and get it out to the private and public sectors of Jamaica that's involved in developing technology, especially when it comes to the digital frontier or just using online overall. So, because when I got here in Jamaica in 2014, me trying to talk to JamPro, me trying to talk to Digicel, me trying to talk to Flow or Lime at the time, or any of these type of companies, there's this blockade. It's like an invisible wall that kind of blocks you. And the main question they all ask is, what's this esports thing you're trying to sell me? So hearing what esports is from people that they're related to in their own industry is better than hearing it from a foreigner, from an outside entity coming in and informing them, because they have a better relationship with the people in the Jamaica Computer Society than it is from someone who's coming out, whether it may be domestically from the streets of Jamaica or internationally from Africa or America, because they're like, well, we don't know what this is, who are you, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure that the people in the Jamaica Computer Society is tightly knit with the different companies in Jamaica.
Well, I guess that is that could be a good thing. I mean, it's been a long time now that people, I mean, long before even the word esports was created, was coined. I know people in Jamaica have been hosting their little events. I mean, I'm sure I offend certain people when I say it, but like, I give a fuck. Esports in Jamaica, even before esports was created, to me was just like a bunch of little get-togethers, glorified LAN parties. Bunch of people get together, and because they're circles, you know. I was just talking to Sash earlier on about the Illuminati, and I mean, the point is that they're like little Illuminatis everywhere. Everybody's just creating these circles, and the same thing happens in esports in Jamaica, where there's these pockets of people creating some fighting game tournaments over there, creating some League of Legends tournaments over there, creating some tournaments over there, but people might still look and say, well, you know, the same thing happens in North America and overseas, where you have the groups and the bodies, but
Factions.
the factions, there you go. But in Jamaica, we can't afford to do that, and people don't seem to get that we can't afford to do that, because when you have a faction for fighting games in, let's not even say America, let's say New York alone, the faction of the fighting game scene in New York alone is bigger than the entire esports scene in Jamaica. So they can afford to do that because of the numbers. In Jamaica, we don't have those numbers. So if you decide to start to segment everything, and say there's a segment for the Call of Duty guys and there's a segment for the League of Legends guys, then you can have like, I don't know, a dozen people or 2 dozen people over there at a League of Legends tournament, and the same thing for a Call of Duty tournament. So basically what I'm saying is every single esports event I've ever been to in Jamaica was some small fry bullshit. It was just some small time bullshit. Even when people try to get a space in the arena and host an esports tournament, you look in the arena and I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot more empty spaces there than there are people. So they're all small time no matter what they try to do. They've all been small time things. My point for this tirade is that for years people have been trying to get the attention of corporate Jamaica, and it hasn't been working, and it's because we are self-sabotaging.
This is true.
We're sabotaging ourselves by having these cliques. I don't like these people, I don't like that person, I don't like that person, so therefore we're going to have our little thing over here, and your little thing is going to always be a little thing. It's never going to be anything more than a little thing. It's small now, and at this rate it'll be small 10 years from now. So if you're a Jamaica Computer, what you said about the Jamaica Computer Society is actually true, then you know it has potential, because at least then maybe somebody might be able to look and say, well then, maybe somebody might be able to convince somebody that, yeah, you know, Jamaica Computer Society can say to somebody at Digicel or Red Stripe or whatever that this video game thing is serious and it's worth investing in. Because I've heard people, I've created proposals myself, and I've heard people go off and say things like, there's this thing that we all say whenever we're trying to speak non-gamers. The video game industry is larger than the music industry and the motion picture industry.
That was actually
combined.
Said, that was literally said.
Right, and I'm kind of tired of hearing that shit, because clearly nobody cares in Jamaica. To say to somebody, well, this industry is a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry, and in Asia they're doing this, and in North America they're doing that. Nobody gives a shit out here.
Because if they did, they'd be doing something.
Right, because we've been saying that, we've been feeding people that line for years, and I'm tired of hearing it, I'm tired of saying it. So maybe if somebody else can say it to somebody who actually respects their opinion, then maybe something might come of it. I'm simply saying that it's not happening now. So if with this Jamaica Computer Society thing and this, they're called the Jamaica Esports Initiative, what they're doing, if they can bring some attention to it, fine. But just know this, guys, and that's one of the things, that's my peeve. Or maybe peeve is an understatement. It really, really pisses me off to see how people approach esports in Jamaica. This bullshit attitude where if you get, I've never been to a tournament in Jamaica and seen 100 people show up. Okay? Never. Ever. I've heard stories, I don't know if they're true, but I've never seen a video game tournament in Jamaica.
The main one was the In Control, which was sponsored with Digicel.
Okay, how many people showed up for that?
Oh, there was like 200-300 people from that. They had to use the Chinese I forgot the name of the place that they use. It's up in
200-300 people showed up.
Yeah, that's fact. Well, actually, they kind of panned out and showed you everyone. It's the
right.
first time they actually got a pan out.
And that is absolutely fantastic. But here's what I'm saying: 300 people ain't shit. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you can go toot your own horn and say, I got a tournament and 300 people. Seriously? Well, look at this clip. I'm going to put up a clip. This is a crowd. 300 people is sad. I understand. We're doing our best and we can't do any better because Jamaica is Jamaica. But just people need to understand how far back we are. Before we get up and start tooting our own horns, before we start getting up and doing a fucking ceremonial circle jerk, congratulating each other that, yeah, I got a tournament and 100 people showed up. Look at the bigger picture. 100 people ain't shit. 300 people ain't shit. And on top of that, most tournaments aren't pulling in 100 people, much less 300 people. So fine, there was one tournament I pulled in 300 people. So fucking what? And that was if we focus on, if we keep focusing, if we keep hosting these little tournaments and then tooting our own horns and patting ourselves on the back because 20 people showed up, then we're a part of the problem. Because we're forever going to be doing that. Because people have been having tournaments with 20 people and 100 people since in the 90s, as far back as I can tell, even before I started going to esports tournaments. So
stop fighting for last and second to last, please.
Because basically what we do. There's a much bigger picture that requires unity that we're not looking into, but we would much prefer to just get up and say, well, you know, we did this little tournament and at least we got this amount of people to show up. But the grand scheme of things, nobody's ever going to take that shit seriously. Because if you look at a soccer match in Jamaica, that's sponsored. Okay, look at the Buju Banton concert that happened recently. If only 300 people showed up, that'd be a failure. If when boys champs or champs or whatever it's called is kept and only 300 people showed up, that would be a failure. So why is it a success to have 300 people show up for a video game tournament? I guess that ends my rant on esports in Jamaica. Some will agree, most will disagree and be really pissed, but you know what to do when you get pissed. You either hit that dislike button or you hit the unsubscribe button and get the fuck out of here. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about this symposium? Because you said basically what you said is that message that they sent, the fact that they were trying to educate the Jamaica Computer Society was the best thing you took away from it. Was there anything else you took away from it?
There's a couple of things that I took away from it in terms of, but everything has to do with the information. The dissemination of information was the most important part. But I have to agree with your entire rant on this thing. It's a little bit crude, but it's to the point. That
crude is my middle name.
Yeah, we gotta work together. Everyone trying to do their own individual thing is not going to make esports grow in Jamaica, and that's why I said the meeting was important, because they're now getting involved. They're now involving all these other entities in the entire tech space of Jamaica to focus more on what esports is about. So because they're doing this, now we have an actual opportunity, a real opportunities on the table to see all these different organizations finding out more about esports, getting involved and help chipping in. So the meeting created an opportunity and a platform for the circle to grow, the very same circle that you is stating that is so small and it's going to remain small, which is true. It's definitely going to remain small. So the fact that they're doing this is good. But then at the same time, there is a lot of information that was at the meeting that was not given out, or some information that was either omitted or just misinformation that I saw. But because I was just a guest, I didn't think it was appropriate for me to pretty much try to counter anything or create a scene. It was more important about getting them to become acclimated to the whole esports scene. I plan on becoming a member to the JCS, and once I become a member to them, then anything that I felt that's omitted, I can present it to the JCS, and they will be able to find out. So I think everybody should be, anyone, if you're in Jamaica and you're involved in the digital space or anything, join the JCS. Help us out. Help us get Jamaica caught up to the digital age in this world, and provide the information that you can to, so we can get Jamaica where it needs to be, because we are definitely falling behind.
Well, you know, hats off to everybody involved, basically. The Jamaica Computer Society for even showing an interest, you know what I'm saying? To even show an interest. I mean, anybody who actually wants to make this thing grow, even if it's just in their own way, they're appreciated. Jamaica Computer Society, the esports initiative, I mean, at the end of the day, most people are doing nothing. Lots of people, the only thing they're doing is waiting and whining. Entitled brats waiting for something to be created, which is understandable. That's what people do. But fortunately, there are some people who are actually getting things done. So props and hats off to the Jamaica Computer Society for showing an interest. Hats off to the Jamaica Esports Initiative for actually taking an initiative. So props to them. Let us talk now about, I mean, we've been hearing a lot about Africa, okay? And we made sure to make the best of Africa. All who have not seen any of the African stuff, you know, I guess you could check out the documentary. I'll leave a link up top.
The Chronicles of Ghana.
The Chronicles of Ghana. It was definitely an adventure. You can check that out. It really, a really comprehensive look at everything that happened in Africa. There are separate videos, but there's the Chronicles of Ghana to tell you everything from day one to the final day where we left Africa. But one of the major things that happened there, and one of the major reasons for going there, was for the Access Summit. The Access Summit was definitely some groundbreaking stuff, and it means a lot. And you can tell us even more about it.
Yeah, well, the Access Summit, for those who are wondering what the Access Summit means, it's an acronym. It stands for the African Commonwealth Conference for Esports Structure and Summit in Africa. So that's what Access means, ACCESS. And literally, the Access Summit was like one of the most important things for me to have even gone to Ghana for. So we went to Ghana for GamerFest and the Access Summit, which then expanded into things that we were doing with the GGC and Kwesi TV. But the Access Summit, we gathered some of Ghana's most prominent esports organizers and figures in the scene to discuss how we can get the entire continental Africa esports interest structured. It's about creating that infrastructure to network all the different African countries and beyond, not just Africa. They actually have a huge interest in the Caribbean and in the African diaspora around the world. And when I was there, we spoke about that. We mainly spoke about how like Ghana can work together with all the different factions. The issues that are happening in Jamaica, rather than everyone trying to do their one thing, they came together in a summit to discuss how they can pull all of Ghana's esports entities together in one. Perhaps Jamaica needs its own summit, esports summit, where all of the big figures can come around, which is, I think that's like what the Jamaica Computer Society meeting was. It's like a summit with all the people. The only difference is there was only like about 3 different esports entities involved in that meeting. But that's what the Access Summit did. It brought all these different entities together, from GamerFest to Virtual Union, and there were supposed to be guys from Gamer Republic and different esports entities throughout Ghana from north, east, south, and west. But not everyone was able to show up. But the few that did show up, well, we set a precedence because they want to make this an annual thing. And when I was there, I pretty much shared with them my knowledge.
The summit is going to be an annual thing.
Yes, annual. This was the first. It's the first. That was the first. And now they want to invite. It's not about getting all of the entities in Ghana. They want to get different African nations involved, whether it may be Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Kenya, whatever. They want to bring all these different countries to Ghana every year for their the Access Summit to discuss on how we can network Africa. In fact, Africa is working on something called the Africa Esports Championships, which will be held this year in August, the end of August. And they've already rolled out the plan. They're working on the final location. Different nations are having qualifiers, and they send the best representatives to the African Esports Championships to compete. And this is all because everyone in Africa, in Ghana, and in the continent as a whole is working together. So me going there was to discuss that, create that first dialogue, set down that first networking meeting to bring them together. So when I got there and I did that, I was awarded the Ghana International Esports Ambassador award. So these guys certified me as their official, certified and appointed me as their official international esports ambassador, because they even, like I said, they want to get the other African countries involved, and they've definitely made an interest for the Caribbean. And they said they wanted me to spearhead getting the Caribbean involved in the Africa esports infrastructure, mainly Jamaica, and that's literally my job as the ambassador.
And even after the summit, because I was there, obviously, I saw you even before you left Africa, you started to actually do things as the ambassador.
Yes.
You started to get stuff done even before you left. So that's a good move, and I definitely look forward to seeing what else comes from that. I know that we'll also be in Africa in August for the
Africa Esports Championship.
yeah, we're going to be there as well, so you're going to be seeing more of that and more of Africa. And what can I say? I'm happy to be a part of that. Good stuff, Mr. Johnson. I did a feature with you recently on the Tetris thing, because what happened is I've heard you talk about Tetris. I've heard you, yeah, you've spoken to me about it, and I've heard you in interviews talking about Tetris. But to be quite honest with you, even though I've done a lot of work with you, I'm not 100% sure of which games in particular that you're really, really proficient in, for lack of a better word. You're really good at. But I found out Tetris is one of them. Then I saw one of your streams where you're doing the Tetris. I think it was the first game you played at Tetris 99.
Yeah.
And you won. And to me, well, you know, I guess I'm not good at any kind of battle royale. You know what I'm saying? I've never gotten any motherfucking chicken dinners, so I don't know anything about winning in a battle royale game. However, I do think it's daunting. I think it takes a lot of skill. Beat Tetris Battle Royale or Apex Legends or Fortnite or whatever. It's not easy. Your first game and you won. I realized that you're really talented. I watched those fucking bricks fall into place, and you know what I mean, I've known about Tetris since the Game Boy version, you know, the yellow and black version, and it takes skill, and you really danced around that shit, around 99 other people. So I had to make a feature on that. A link will be on, you'll see some link popping up somewhere on the screen with that link, a card or whatever. It's really, really impressive, and that's why I wanted to do the feature. It was my idea. But then, in a very short space of time, you've actually prestiged in Tetris 99.
Yeah.
You know what? Before we get into that, because I remember there was a post on one of the videos I put up. That same video I'm talking about with the Tetris thing.
Yep.
The Grandmaster thing. And some guy came on and basically said, you know, fuck you, you're not a Grandmaster. What does it take to be a Grandmaster exactly? And are you really a Grandmaster, or did I just get up and appoint you as a Grandmaster?
All right. Well, first of all, I'll answer the second one before I go into the first one. You're not the first person to consider me a Grandmaster in Tetris. But this whole Grandmaster thing is an elite thing in Tetris, that certain people create a circle of people and say this, that, and the other.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, so they create their own little circles to determine certain things. First of all, when you look up Grandmaster, online in any dictionary, it only relates to chess. So that's number one. So if we're going to look at the true definition of Grandmaster, there's no such thing as a Grandmaster Tetris player. But if we're going to use it in the context of someone who masters a particular game, then I can understand. And in that case, then I would be then a Grandmaster. And here is why. First of all, I'm not the first and I will not be the last Grandmaster. The guy I was in there is talking about a game called Tetris. It's an arcade game in Japan, right? And when you beat the game goes into the credits, and you have to play Tetris invisible. You don't see the blocks. You don't see anything. You see nanosecond shine when you create a line, and it runs on for about a minute 30. And if you can literally keep yourself from dying until the credits is over, then the game gives you the game itself says Grandmaster. But there's this Tetris phone game which says you can be Tetris God, Tetris Grandmaster, like all these little titles that it gives you. So only 6 people in the world was able to beat that particular Tetris game, because it's only in Japan. Some people to get the ROM version and play it in America. There's only one American that's ever played it here with the ROM version, and he's got that. So some people in the Tetris community goes, those are the only Grandmasters. I 100% disagree, with my founded reason that before that Tetris game even exists, before Tetris was even popular, for that game to even get there, for anyone to even beat that level to then get that title Grandmaster, the game had to have, what was the game before that? And then you have Tetris for the NES, and Tetris for the Game Boy. And there are guys on the NES Tetris who have maxed out the score at 99999. And that was like level 29. You can barely move the blocks. the new Tetris world champion, literally just got to level 33 for the first time in the history of Tetris. Guys like Thor Akerlund was the first to do it, won the Nintendo World Championships. So to me, that's the first grandmaster in a Tetris game. And he's a grandmaster in that Tetris game, right? But he's a grandmaster nonetheless. Then you have Harry Hong, you have Jonas, you have Joseph, who just won. I forgot the other, the Asian gentleman who won the year before. All these guys have won the Tetris Classic World Championships. And then you have other people who have done great feats in Tetris via Guinness, via Twin Galaxies, and all these other things. Then you have those guys who played the Tetris arcade game who've getting Grandmaster. Each and every one of these individuals are Grandmasters because they have mastered the game on a grand level, depending on what Tetris game it is. Whether it may be Tetris Ultimate, Tetris DS, Tetris Magical Drop, who knows what it is, original classic Tetris, but they're all Grandmasters. To sit here and say that those only 6 guys who played the arcade games as the only Grandmasters is disrespectful to the Grandmasters who paved the way for that prestige to even be there. Okay. So to me, when they sit there and they say, if you don't play the Tetris Akira arcade game to be a Grandmaster, I just go, all right, that's nice, that's your opinion. I don't care, you know. I have my Guinness World Records. I have done feats in Tetris games in which I believe that makes me a Grandmaster. Have I ever called myself a Grandmaster? No, but people have called me Grandmaster, so I go, okay. Now, you would think a guy with 4 Tetris Guinness World Records, prestige in Tetris 99, and I think I was like one of the first in the world to prestige. I think there was a gentleman in France, one other Asian guy, and I guess I would be representing Africa, the first to prestige in Tetris at 99. So to sit here and say that I'm not a Grandmaster, that's your opinion, that's fine, but I think a lot of people would disagree when they look at my accolades in Tetris overall, because I've been playing them from the Game Boy to the Switch. So that's my whole stance on the whole Tetris thing. You know, you can't be okay at Tetris and prestige in less than 30 days from when the game launched. The game launched on February 13. I prestiged March 10th. I prestige on Mario Day. So so for people, so now it's either everyone in the world sucks and I'm just better than them, or I'm worthy of that title, Grandmaster. But that's for people to choose. That's their opinion. It doesn't bother me. My Guinness records hang on my wall. So, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, let me go into a little story. It's story time.
Okay.
Let's gather by the fireside, marshmallows and all. I met Triforce Johnson, it was either 2014 or 2015.
No, 2014.
Okay. Met him in 2014. He came to Jamaica. I met him. Saw this guy with his power glove on and shit. And I was like, "Who the fuck is this mother?" Fine. Interviewed him a couple of times. Decided to start doing some work with him. Because basically, what I found interesting and let's say impressive about Triforce Johnson, I mean, other than the fact that the guy actually, he showed me his driver's license and his name is really Triforce. For somebody to do that, that's like, I mean, somebody can tattoo Mario on their arm or some shit like that, but for you to actually legally change your name to Triforce, it's clear to me that you take this thing seriously. And it's very hard to find people who's that passionate about anything they do. Lots of people are just hustling for the money. Money is very important. I agree with Zig Ziglar, you know. Money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. I get that. But then if you don't have passion for what you do, you let money get in the way. And when obstacles arise, you just quit. Because you say, hey, it's not worth it. But if it's a passion that you are doing for more than the money, then that's what's going to keep you going. A wise man once said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. My point is, he's very passionate. And I need to align myself with persons like that. But in the early days of working with this person, with Triforce Johnson, I heard a lot of things. There's lots of rumors. There's lots of Reddit posts. There's lots of people on YouTube. I put up a video with Triforce Johnson and, you know, it'll get a sizable amount of views. Well, not sizable in the general sense, but for somebody with a channel as small as mine with only 5 subscribers, yeah, it was a lot of views. And I would look at it, I see the views, and then I see the dislikes, and then I start seeing some comments and saying, you know, Triforce Johnson is this and Triforce Johnson is that, and he's a, what have I heard? I've heard that Triforce Johnson is a pimp. No, pimping ain't easy. I heard that he has a prostitution ring. I heard that Triforce Johnson is a con artist. I heard that
I have a G5. A G5,
that's a jet, right?
yes.
That's the same jet we took to Africa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were balling, yeah, in the G5. Right, so he has a G5 and there was some other shit. But my point is that I heard some horrible things about Triforce Johnson. And even some of the horrible shit I was hearing was from people I was also associated with at the time, working with. And to be quite honest with you, I realized, it took me a couple of years to realize it, but even some of the people I knew who were bad-mouthing Triforce Johnson, I realized from working with this man that Triforce Johnson has more integrity in his little finger than those people combined. So I observe things like this. Triforce Johnson has this very first world approach to things. I believe there's a third world approach, there's a first world approach. I believe the third world approach is to try to get as much as you can for as little as you can. I believe the industrious first world approach is treat the people you're working with as well as you can, and then you'll get as much as you can. Now, mind you, not everybody in the first world applies to this, but it's still a first world industrious approach, and there's a third world approach. So Triforce Johnson is somebody who has basically revealed to me integrity. And some people say that what the world needs is love. That's a load of bullshit, because you can love hate, you can love war, you can love bestiality. So love is completely unimportant. What the world needs is integrity. So while I'm not saying this guy is like the second coming, if there was even a first, he has integrity. And the reason why I went off on this rant, I have to put this thing into context. A lot of people say a lot of shit about Triforce Johnson, and I've known Triforce Johnson from 2014 to 2019, and he has simply displayed to me professionalism, integrity, and commitment. You know what I'm saying? And I guess integrity is actually committing to whatever you said you were going to do, so it's the same thing. But my point is he's not what people says he is. And I'm just telling you that. He didn't pay me to say this. This video isn't sponsored by Empire Arcade. I'm just speaking my mind, as I always do. If you want to know more about me, then go watch some of my reviews. I don't give a fuck. Recently, there has been another slander. Now, I'm not this guy's defense attorney. I'm not trying to defend Triforce Johnson. I'm simply trying to put things out there. And by the way, going back to what I was saying about him and his integrity and the stuff I've heard about him, there's a comment section in YouTube. It's free to be used. Anybody who knows anything that Triforce Johnson actually did that would incriminate him, that would prove to the world, not some bullshit people write on Reddit. Reddit is like fucking Wikipedia. You can put anything you want up there. Proof of anything he actually did. If you can prove about his prostitution ring, if you can prove the thing with his G5, well, no, you'd have to prove the G5, because that's what we took to Africa. That's different. He has a G5. That's different. But if you can prove that he's a con artist, that he's a scammer, that he's any other things that people say he is, please come to me with proof. Anything that you have, put it in the comment section below. You can add links to it. If Triforce Johnson did any of these things, there has to be proof. There has to be some proof, or you're just fucking talking. And I've known this guy for like 5 years, and I haven't, he hasn't proven anything like that to me. He hasn't carried me into a dark room somewhere and showed me a ring of underage girls in a prostitution ring or anything like that. So my point is, there is no proof. So feel free to utilize the comment section. Hit all the dislike you want and unsubscribe if you want, but please put in the comment section some proof of what this guy has done. No speculation, straight up proof. There's been a new slander that rised up recently from these guys called the Score Esports. They're basically saying that they had a list of the worst esports events ever or some shit like that. And they're saying that Triforce Johnson was at number 3, and he was responsible for VXG, and he was the person who was responsible for the tournament, and there were cash prizes that were supposed to be paid out and all kinds of other shit, and he did not do it. Hey, maybe it's true. Maybe the list is true. I'm going to speak with Triforce. You will speak on it, and then, just so you people understand, this isn't a fucking fluff piece, okay? If there's any proof that he actually did these things, feel free to add it here in the comment section. Tell me about this thing.
Okay, so we're gonna start in 2012. Then this is the year my mother passed away, and I wanted to go down to the Caribbean because one of her passing wishes is that she wanted Jamaica specifically to be able to win at something.
Yes.
Sports wise. Well, I'm not into sports, but I'm into esports. So I was like, you know something, I want to bring my team down into the Caribbean and start representing African nations because
Hey, esports is sports.
oh, esports is sports. This is true. So, you know, I did a lot of years in the U.S. With Empire Arcadia, and I wanted to just expand it. And I was like, I need to focus on, you know, the African people. So I was like, I can work backwards, reverse transatlantic slave trade. So it's from America to the Caribbean, back to Africa, as opposed to Africa to the Caribbean to America. So it's time to go back to the Caribbean. I was invited to St. Martin to be a part of this event called the Video X Games. This is in 2012, by the way, and it was hosted by Rolando Bryson and the VXG committee, along with the St. Martin government and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, my name is Rolando Bryson. I'm the tournament organizer of the Video X Games and the vice president of the Video X Games Foundation.
Yeah, we went there. Excellent event. It was the best, in my opinion, one of the best tournaments I've ever been to, ever. Just because it wasn't just about being a tournament. It was literally the tropical Caribbean life experience along with the video game tournament. So we were invited back the following year, but this time what they wanted to do was, because we did so much to help support the 2012 tournament, the people who ran VXG hired my organization, my team, my players to go and promote the following year's tournament. We weren't the only one hired. They hired guys from Cross Counter. This is out in the West. They've hired James MK. Shout out to James from the On Blast show. They've hired a bunch of different entities in the US that was in the fighting game community to promote this big tournament that they were going to do for 2013, because how 2012 was such a success. They literally got the St. Martin Tourist Board, the government, to actually fund them $30,000 for the tournament, that was huge. I was like, wow, that's kind of good. So I was like, you know, the beach, the women, the food, the water, the air, plus money, you can't lose. That's the greatest tournament there is. So I promoted the tournament like all these other guys did as well. That's what we were literally all appointed to. We were all being paid money to promote their tournament. So with all that said and done, tournament time. 2013 came around. We all got down to the tournament. There were some problems, but every tournament I've ever been to, every esports tournament I've ever been to, there's a problem. It doesn't matter what I don't care if you think this is the League of Legends World Championships. There are problems. They have management team, crisis management teams that take care of the problems right in front of your face, and you'll never even know that there was an issue, right? They're just better at that. That's what the professionals do. This happens in movie, like news on TV, like when you're watching news. You ever seen some of the newscasters make some blunders, but some of them recover. They're just good at it, right? So there were some issues there. The issues had to deal with the internet that they were getting so that they can live stream the matches. The people that were providing them internet really wasn't giving them good internet. Hotel issues, things regarding the rooms. The brackets, they hired some guy called Chris, I forgot his last name, but they hired some guy who ran a big tournament in the US. He was known for it, so they hired him to operate the tournament, run the brackets, set up all the matches, and make sure these things need to be done. So that's their job. These things came under fire at the tournament. There's a gentleman called Eric Smalls, known as Big E, for Big E Gaming. Shout outs to Northeast Big E Gaming out in Philly. And he was one of the guests who wanted to come to a tropical island and enjoy himself and the tournament. He saw these problems happening, and like a good tournament organizer, he wasn't being paid for this, stepped in to try to help salvage the tournament. And they were able to literally complete the tournament despite the problems that they had, and we're done with it. The only problem was paying the players, which my players were there competing, so we were owed money too. Mewtwo King, he wiped out all of the actual Smash Brothers tournaments, so he was owed the most money out of everyone in EMP. Flacco won Marvel vs. Capcom, Kill Them won FIFA. So we had a lot of people on our team. We won like 7 tournaments and top 15 out of VXG. We were in the newspaper, the whole 9 yards, and all the images that you're seeing here. Like literally, we dominated the scene. So we were owed the most money. Literally, our team, we got paid last. And that wasn't a problem. It was never a problem. I had no issues. I understood the issues Rolando was going through and the VXG committee was going through. There's a lot of politics and back channeling and things that was not at his control. Things that when he was working with the government at the time, there are entities in the government that were sabotaging him because they didn't like the fact that he was bringing in all these international people into the island and helping the economy grow, which is why he is now the Minister of Tourism in St. Martin right now. I don't know if his position has changed and he's promoted, but he's definitely one of their, he works for the government in St. Martin. And at that time in 2013, he had individuals who, when he wasn't in government, who he looked to in government to help him, sabotaging him. So I completely understood what he was going through, and he was under a bad crisis. And it really hurt the tournament. So it wasn't his fault, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't anybody's fault, it's just circumstance. But he did the best he could, and the community surrounded him and helped him. The players understood what he was going through. He hosted a meeting with the players to explain the circumstance that they were in. The players from as far as Taiwan and Europe, to US, to other players in the Caribbean. Everyone said, all right, we understand, Rolando. We're going to work with you. They gave him time. Afterwards, he was able to pay out most of the players, if not all of the players. He even paid out my players. He paid me as much as he could until all the money dried up. But everyone got paid and everyone enjoyed the event. So that's the reality of what happens. So this is where the slander comes from. The slander comes in now when someone posts on Reddit that VXG was a total failure and it was due to Triforce. So, like you mentioned earlier, people write what they want on Reddit. And just because someone wrote it on Reddit, someone thinks that it's the truth. People forget there are 3 sides to every story. The accused, the accuser, and then the truth.
And sometimes there are only 2 sides. Sometimes one of the motherfuckers are actually telling the truth.
Exactly, and that's just it. So, on Reddit now, they just write what they write, and it was Triforce hosted VXG, organized it wrong, was responsible for the bad streaming, was responsible for the bad brackets. They even implicated and said that I actually rigged the finals in Marvel 3 between the Evo champion of that at that time, EMP Flocker, versus Chris G. I had nothing to do with the tournament. I had no involvement with the tournament.
Let me stick up in there.
All right.
Because I'm going to lose my train of thought.
All right.
What I would like, because I know how this is going to look. You're going to have some assholes saying that the Lab Video Game TV is some kind of Empire Arcadia dick rider. So, again, I'll put it out there. All the stuff that he's saying, if it's bullshit, and there are people out there who know it's bullshit, and they can step to this with some facts, please do. If Triforce is the fucking Antichrist, I'd like to know. I remember I was on Facebook and somebody left a post as well saying some shit about some cyberbox thing, and when I responded to that Facebook post and said, interesting, I'm going to be doing some more work with this guy, so if he's really this asshole that you claim he is, I'd like to know. Please tell me more. Motherfucker didn't come back. To this day, he has not come back. So I'm saying there has to be a reason why people are out there saying these things about the Triforce. But fine, I'm not an idiot and I'm not naive. I'm very open-minded. If you guys are right, and by you guys I mean the enemies of Triforce who think that he's a piece of shit or if he has wronged you in any way, come forth with some facts. Because what he's doing right now, he's presenting facts. And if it's bullshit and you have a problem with it, do not just be one of those e-cowards. I like to call them e-cowards because you have cowards in real life and then you have these electronic cowards who like to hide behind the veil of the internet, the anonymity of the internet, and just hit the dislike button or create some bullshit account with a bullshit name and leave a bullshit comment. Step forward with some facts. Look, I'm doing work with this guy. You saw that. since last year. We've stepped up the pace. We stopped for a while and we've stepped up the pace. We're doing even more work right now. And if he's really this sociopath, this fucking maniacal, calculating asshole that you guys say he is, please join in and let me know. You can continue.
So let me jump in real quick regarding the Reddits and stuff like that. So this is a short one. In Jamaica, Cyberbox flew me from the US, set up a housing project for me so I can have a place to stay, and paid me to work for them as their esports ambassador for the Cyberbox Esports League that they were building. And this is in the year 2015. So my job is to help them build an esports league. So I'm like a consultant and I'm an ambassador. That's why you saw me on Hype TV, CVM, TVJ, even work that you've come to at Cyberbox and recorded. There was a tournament there in which my team got second, so we lost. We were supposed to get paid out $100,000 Jamaican, right? And the team that beat us, they were supposed to get paid.
You're going to get paid $100,000 Jamaican for second place?
No. It's $100,000 split between top three.
Okay.
So our team came second.
Okay.
On Reddit, someone actually created a Reddit account and made a post saying, Triforce hosts tournament at Cyberbox and scams everyone out of money and doesn't pay anyone. Now, I don't run the Cyberbox Esports League. That's not my building. I don't pay taxes on it. It's not my company. It's nothing. The money was sponsored. I will not name the company that sponsored, but it was sponsored by that company, and that money was given to Cyberbox. Cyberbox, I don't know if they paid them. I don't know what happened. I know our team didn't get paid. So they closed down Cyberbox and they moved forward. But online, it stated that I scammed everyone and I hosted a tournament and didn't pay anyone. The Cyberbox had their commissioner come on Reddit and literally post, Triforce had nothing to do with the sponsorship, the event, nothing. It's literally there.
Somehow I believe that didn't really fucking matter, did it?
No, it didn't matter. The guy from Cyberbox literally explained to them, stated who he was, the organizer, everything, and it didn't matter. It's still Triforce's
Because
fault.
at the end of the day, we believe what we want to believe. And I can respect that. Every single thing in life that we believe is because we want to believe it. So I guess that's what happened there. And it's really unfortunate. And there's lots of that shit going around. But back to the VXG though.
Yes, so now the Score Esports, I don't know where they get this information from. They host as you can see here, this is called the top 10 worst tournaments yet, or something like that. At number 3, it says Triforce Johnson of Empire Arcadia. I have been credited as the organizer of VXG 2013, and it stated I had a meeting with the players on how I'm going to pay them $30,000 and when I'm going to pay them. And it implies that I never even paid them. Then on top of it, how I rigged the tournament bracket so that my player would fight against Chris G in some finals on some stream that was happening and that I was involved in it. And so I scammed the players of money. They had me as rigging the tournament brackets and then setting up the worst tournament ever.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
So busy man.
Yeah, I've been a busy. According to them, I've been a busy man. And
busy man.
I'm like, where did they get this information? Did they call me? No, they didn't call me. Did they even contact the company VXG? Did they contact anyone? No, they didn't do anything. So it's.
So I'm sorry. Basically, what you're saying is there are no facts in that video.
Oh no. The video is completely incorrect.
There was no facts at all.
Zero.
So none of their claims that they made.
It is a 100,000% lie. No, I'm sorry, that's understanding. It is a 1,000,000,000,000% lie, outright lie. It is false, it is libel, it is slander directly.
That's interesting, but I guess that's YouTube for you. YouTube has no standards, basically. That's why quality doesn't really matter, and somebody with a cell phone can just turn it in portrait mode and shoot a video of somebody falling down a flight of stairs and get 1 million views. There's really no standards or any quality control. So like due diligence and research are clearly not important. But like I'm saying, I know how this is coming off, because if I was sitting here beside Donald Trump trying to defend Donald Trump or accusing or telling people to bring some facts out against Donald Trump, they'd say I'm a Donald Trump dick rider. So what I'm saying is, again, this is not a fluff piece. If what he just said is bullshit, please let us know. It's not just letting me know, because YouTube is for the public. You know, my comment section is, you know, it's public. State some facts. Trust me, if Triforce Johnson is an asshole, then I'd like to know, and lots of other people would like to know, particularly his enemies who have been spreading it, since they have no concrete proof. Maybe they'd like somebody else out there to come with this concrete proof. So feel free to interact, you know, participate in this exchange, and if there are any facts out there to incriminate Triforce Johnson to be the asshole that so many people says he is, then yeah, I'd really, really like to know. We'd all like to know, trust me. I mean, come on, let's treat this video like it was a fucking steak, and we tied Triforce Johnson to it, and I'm just waiting for you motherfuckers to just bring that fuel, and let's light him up. Let's crucify this motherfucker like they did that other guy. I'd really love to get some facts here. Anything else you'd like to say about this thing?
Well, I just want to support what you just said. I've always told people, you know, if they feel that I have done something wrong to them, please bring it to public light. But here's a reality. Most of these guys will not bring it to public light because of this one reason. They need people with sheep mind, mob mentality. People who want instant gratification in terms of their information. People who are not interested in researching. They do not want to provide a platform for me to defend myself because it brings attention to me, and that's what they want to stop. The more attention I get, because according to them, I know I'm a masterful manipulator, so I know how to manipulate how things are happening and turn bad news into good press. So they don't want to give me any platform to turn the bad news that they're throwing against me in good press. But the reality is that if I get any platform and they throw out the bad news, I'm going to show people that they're false, that they're liars. I am not a saint. I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm this perfect person that has no issues. I have issues. I've worked with people, but I am very straightforward. I'm honest. I speak with everybody. Any type of problems I have them individually, privately with people, and they all understand. Like, no problem, Triforce. Take your time, do this, whatever. I have working relationships with other people, but this megalomaniac, maniacal manipulator, demon that people, they're trying to, demonize me. That is not me, and they just don't want me to have a platform to be able to talk to them. I think you're the third platform, I'm sorry, outside of these. I forgot the American couple. I know it's the On Blast show and Live on 3. I think you're the third entity that's ever given me a platform for me to ever address any of the negative things being said about me.
So 3 platforms have been created for you in the space of probably decades.
Yes.
But like 3,000 negative platforms have been created.
Made in those decades, sir. So that's the war I'm against.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I know what I've experienced working with Triforce Johnson. He's never robbed me. He's never scammed me. Can't say the same for everybody else, but he has never done that. He doesn't owe me money. None of that shit. I'd like to see the fucking truth. I'd like to hear the truth. I'd like to know that if this guy is really who you people say he is. Just prove it. You know what I'm saying? I have no problems like cutting ties with him in a fucking instant if you can prove all of that shit, but nobody's able to prove it. Everybody just wants to talk shit and have a good time on the internet, because apparently that's what social media is for. You know what I'm saying? If there's no slander, if there's no excitement, if somebody didn't fucking die, then nobody's interested. You know what I'm saying? Like, many people didn't even watch this video all the way to the end, I'm pretty sure, because it just wasn't sensational enough, I guess. If this video was titled Triforce is a piece of shit.
Oh, you got 100,000 views.
And it was an hour long. Maybe then I could move up from 5 to maybe 7 subscribers. Anyway, that's pretty much the meat of the matter, you know what I'm saying? This is a pretty long episode of The Wall, but what can I say? It's The Wall, it's the Lab Video Game TV, it's my show, I do whatever the fuck I want. So, that's the end all to it. Triforce Johnson, it's been great having you.
Thanks, man.
And we'll be seeing you again real soon.
Definitely.
And we'll be flying to fucking Africa in August in the G5, right?
In the G5.
You fuel up the jet. You fuel up that G5.
I gotta go scam a couple of people because I think I ran out of some fuel. So.
Yeah, because that jet fuel is expensive. So see what you can do. If you can get online and do a stream for the G5 fuel, it'd be really great. And if you guys contribute to it, get into the Discord, get into the, what's that other thing called? Patreon, that's what it's called. He has a Patreon for the G5 Because we need fuel for the G5, and I'm really just doing this fucking fluff piece because I want to ride in the G5 one more time. Take some nice pictures and post it on social media. Hey, if you enjoy my content, first of all, thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because there's going to be a lot more coming. If you did not like it, if I pissed you off, which I'm pretty sure I pissed a couple people off at least, then you know that unsubscribe and dislike button ain't there for sure. That's a really great thing about the era that we live in. It's like the era of choice, you know what I'm saying? You can block me.